Ben Ayade of the APC and Bala Mohammed of the PDP have both said that they would leave the presidential race if Jonathan joins it. That's our first story. Now, for months, there has been speculation about Jonathan defecting to the APC and running for president. But it's been just that, speculation. And this show is called Hard Facts, not hard speculations. So I've stayed away from the speculation. But last week, something factual happened. I told you that some groups marched on Jonathan's office to demand that he enter the race. But the bigger news was that he did not rule it out. Instead, he said they should watch out for what comes next. So now we have something to talk about. Goodluck Jonathan, one of the only two civilian ex-president, living civilian ex-presidents, is thinking about running for president again. And he's making consultations. We now have to ask, how would his candidacy, if it materializes, affect both parties? So first of all, let's look at the People's Democratic Party. Jonathan, of course, won 4 elections as a PDP man. 2 for deputy governor of Bayelsa, 1 for vice president, 1 for president. He lost his second presidential race to President Buhari, of course. And here's where it may get difficult for the PDP. Most of the PDP's biggest stars campaigned hard for Jonathan in 2007 and 2011 and 2015. Back in 2015, they painted his presidency as an example of smart economic policy making, and they painted Jonathan himself as a paragon of decency. For the past 7 years, whenever there has been some economic crisis like the recession or food inflation or budget constraints, they have pointed to a steady GDP growth under Jonathan and increased purchasing power of the middle class. They've hailed Jonathan's attempt to remove fuel subsidy as prophetic. As the security in the north has raged on, they've drawn maps comparing the size of the insurgency by the end of 2014 with the current state of things. To them, it has always been clear that Jonathan handled the problem very well. Some of them have even gone so far as to say that Jonathan was sabotaged. But what happens if in a few days' time, the same Jonathan, many of them have praised for 7 years, appears on the opposing side's ticket? How do they campaign against that man with a straight face? Sure, some of them were in APC when Jonathan was defeated. So people like Atiku Abubakar, Bukola Saraki, Aminu Tambuwal, they were in the APC when Jonathan was defeated. But what about Nyesom Wike? Nyesom Wike served as a minister under Jonathan, campaigned heavily for Jonathan. What about an Anyim Pius Anyim, who was Jonathan's SGF? What about a Bala Mohammed, who was his FCT minister? In fact, Mohammed is already saying that if Jonathan emerges, Bala Mohammed, would have to step down. He said, quote, "He is one of those persons I respect most in this country. He's the most respected person I have because I emerged and came to national limelight through him. Certainly, I have come to establish a family relationship with him. And to me, he cannot be in the race and I will be in the race out of respect and modesty. I've given him enough time and he has urged me to go ahead and I have gone ahead and even gotten another burden now, the mandate of my elders to continue. So if Jonathan is running, it is a very big problem to me," end quote. Bala Mohammed there. And like I said when I started the show, Bala Mohammed is not the only one. And he's not even an unserious aspirant. In fact, in our next story, we're going to talk about how he was shortlisted as one of the Northern Elders Forum 2 consensus candidates. And yet he's saying that he will drop out of the race for Jonathan in another party. Because Bala Mohammed is in a different party from Jonathan. So that's for the PDP side. That's how it may get difficult for them in the PDP. Now let's come to the APC. It's a similar issue. It's just flipped. The APC came to power with some very strong anti-Jonathan messaging. The party characterized him as ineffectual, as out of touch, as corrupt, as even incompetent. They accused Jonathan of mismanaging federal funds, of letting Boko Haram grow, of reigning over a bad economy. When the presidency condemns 16 years of PDP, the last 5 years of that belonged to Jonathan. So how would President Buhari and the rest of the APC stalwarts campaign for the same man they so thoroughly decampaigned 7 years ago? Will they have to say that they were wrong about Jonathan? Will they have to say they were wrong about his track record as president? If Jonathan decides to run, it would be really interesting to see who in both sides, both parties, sticks to their guns about Jonathan and who changes mouth. And if he does win the APC ticket, I'm very curious to see how the PDP campaigns against Jonathan.
If I would advise Jonathan, I will advise him not to even think about it. Okay. Because in the long run, to me, he's going to be messed up big time.
Okay.
I think he should just maintain his stance presently, honourably.
Okay.
I don't think he should go to APC. No, they did him big harm with all the smear campaign that he had. I don't think he should contest for this. Okay. And whether other people will step down for him. We're in a country where people don't really know what they want. So anybody can say he wants to be a presidential aspirant and step down for Jonathan. It doesn't make anything. It doesn't amount to anything as far as I'm concerned. But for him as a person, I would advise he stays clear of that bait that they are dangling in front of him.
You see, to me, I don't know if Jonathan truly wants to come. I doubt. But I don't know why we Nigerians sometimes we don't view our opinion before we speak. You remember when Atiku, people are saying that Atiku will be a presidential candidate to PDP. All PDP loyalists and supporters then say that all the political party want now is power. That they will present Atiku, whether it's on the north or they don't care that they want power. Let them grab the power. You think APC don't want power? APC themselves are doing the calculation who to present to grab power. That is why they are looking for Jonathan now. So what is good for the good is also good for the gander. But to me, I will advise Jonathan to stay clear, to stay off politics. Enough now. He has had almost 6 years. What do you want again? What do you want to correct? Like you say, the party that condemn you, say all sorts of things about you, still want you. How do these people want to campaign? Is it that they will say that, Jonathan is now a repent? Anyway, they say if you join APC, all your sins are forgiven. Politicians, they are Maradona. They can do anything.
I like what Dan Baba said.
Okay.
That PDP, people in PDP, when Atiku, they said what they're interested in is getting power. Do you understand? APC knows also they're interested in getting power. But let me just tell everybody that is even talking about Jonathan.
Okay.
Look, everybody's ambitious. Number one, he wants to also be the president of this country. Come back and complete second term. That is number one. Then number two, even the North see him as their joker to return to power as fast as possible. And he's going. I bet you the guy must have studied the situation, and he's going to get a massive vote from the North. Massive vote from the North, because even when he was there, the North benefited immensely from his benefited a lot from his government. So he's going to get massive votes. If the president should also campaign for him, at least he's going to get massive votes also from Northwest. So what people are talking about, I don't know. I don't just understand. Though, to me personally, I would have preferred him just staying out of politics and be another statesman. But at the end of the day, that is his personal decision.